In this brief video, we're going to look at an example that illustrates how you can import large amounts of triangle data. Now, triangle data can be imported from Microsoft Excel, Microsoft Access, or in fact any other databases that contain or warehouse your triangles directly. Indeed, triangles can actually be created and imported, and subsequently the wizard run on each incremental triangle, also using transactional or unit record data. Importing and creation of triangles from unit record data will be illustrated in the next video. So in this video example, we are going to have a subfolder. This subfolder is here. I've called it Show. The subfolder contains the triangles that you would like to import. It contains Excel spreadsheets in this case, which contain triangles that you want to import. So let's look at company A, and you can see there's quite a few sheets, and each sheet has quite a few triangles in it. Similarly, the other spreadsheet, also various sheets with triangles in it. Let's close that. You need to first of all create a new database in which you want the triangle groups to be imported into. So I have already created one. It might have some triangles in it. It does, so I'm going to delete them. It's got two triangle groups that I'm going to delete. So now you can see it's empty. I can also close it. Doesn't really matter if you keep it open. If you did keep it open, if you wanted to view then the triangle groups that have been imported, you'll have to close it and reopen it again. So there we have a subfolder that would list all the spreadsheets that you want to import. It shouldn't really have any other files in it, except maybe, if you like, the database, the ICRFS database into which you want to import the triangle groups. Of course, this database can reside in a different subfolder. So essentially, the files in the subfolder from which you're importing from should only list the spreadsheets that you'd like to import. We have another subfolder, and that subfolder has a spreadsheet that contains Visual Basic script used for importing. So let's open that up. But it kind of has menus in it. You don't actually have to look at the script. And for instance, in this particular cell, you have to place the name of the database into which you want to import and its location, the subfolder. Then we've got the data directory that would list the subfolder in which all the data sets, in this case Excel spreadsheets, will be held, and then the type of files you want to import from that particular subfolder, in this case the whole Excel spreadsheets. If I move to the right, there's a button here to create and load triangles and triangle groups. Now, another functionality of this COM script is you can also include code to manipulate various objects in the triangle groups that you create. For instance, the data that you're actually importing might be, say, paid losses cumulative, incurred losses cumulative. Now, but you also want to create the paid losses incremental and also the case reserve estimates, which are a function of the paid losses in the case reserve estimates would equal the paid losses, the incurred losses cumulative minus the paid losses cumulative. Instead of going through each triangle group and performing that operation could be done on every object in the triangle group and on every triangle group by just for the code. Okay, so let's do some of that now. And it shouldn't take very long. Of course, this is the way we would have converted the AIM Best Schedule P CD or the NAIC Schedule P as CD that contains up to 20,000 triangle groups to create the corresponding ICRFS relational database, which is designed by various variable values like line of business, company name, and various other codes in the Schedule P data. So if I go back to ICRFS-Plus and I reopen my database, and you can see that you've got all these perhaps 20 odd triangle groups. If I open the first triangle group, you'll see that I've got paid losses. I've got lots of triangles, in fact, in this triangle group. Now, some of the triangles were actually created for manipulation of other triangles. For instance, the case reserve estimate and the IBNR is really the sum of the case reserve estimate triangle and the IBNR triangle, which would then represent the reserves held. Now, that was calculated for each triangle group. Let's look at another triangle group. Let's look at another triangle group. We'd see the same in another triangle group. So this was done actually for each triangle group using the script in Excel. Similarly, these ratios here were calculated outside the system. If you look at data sets, one of the things you can do, for instance, suppose one of the triangles was a number of claims reported, and you might decide that the first column, the numbers in development year 0, in the NCR triangle, you'll like to create an exposure vector from that. Well, again, that could be done through the code rather than doing it manually by copying and creating within each triangle group. So in fact, anything that you can do inside the triangle group manually, you should be able to do using the code. What I'm going to do now, you can see that each triangle group actually contains many triangles. So in order for me to run the wizard on each triangle group, if I run the modeling wizard on each triangle group, it will model each one of the incremental triangles. And there are lots of them. In fact, yeah, most of the triangles have got an I next to them, which means they're incremental. So what I'm going to do is delete all the triangle groups, save, say, the first two, and so let's delete those. And now let's just run the wizard on those two triangle groups. So on every incremental triangle in those two triangle groups, and we press on this button. Incidentally, you can see that when you come to annual reviews or how often you do your reviews, you could also update the database, every object in the database. That means every triangle group, including the updating of the models. You can also do this using this COM automation. So, you know, you don't really need all that many resources for that, and it's going to be extremely fast. You can also use the COM script to output data in any format you like, or output any displays you like, not just data, any tables, data, output, in any format you like into any other application by writing some COM script. And as you probably remember, we could provide that as part of the support that we provide to our global client base. So you never hesitate to actually ask us. Now, I don't really know why it's taking that long. Maybe I didn't close the triangle group. Well, actually, it hasn't taken that long. Well, let me close it now, the database I mean, and reopen it. So let's open it again, and you will see that now we've got 3 models for the first array, but then you'll see all the models cases of estimates and IBNR models, IBNR IVAR models, and these are all the models. And this would have been done for both triangle groups. In fact, if I didn't delete the other triangle groups, it would have done for all the others also, but of course it would have taken a little bit longer because it would have to churn out for a lot of numbers. So this shows you some of the power of the COM technology of ICRFS-Plus.